Well, hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And as always, I thank you for tuning in. I'm going to start off talking about the word we, W E, which, when you think about it, is a very sensitive word. In some cases, it infers that other people are grouped in with us. And as a coworker once said to me when I made a statement about him and myself using the word we, he said to me, "What's this we crap? You're not French and you're not pregnant. So don't use the word we when you're talking to someone else. I'm not with you on this." That was a very memorable moment. I'm glad I recalled it. And I had a very simple philosophy in child rearing, which was part of my life decades ago, but I do recall this. My philosophy was this: I'm never sure if I should be a nice guy and be understanding and sympathetic and forgiving, or whether I should be a tough, autocratic father who doesn't give a damn about your petty annoyances. I tried both of them, and neither of them seemed to work. And back in the mid to late 1990s, I had a very unique and memorable experience of sharing a cubicle office with four other women. That was an experience I'll never forget. And the barriers to the cubes were very low, so we could interact very easily. And I always look back at the experience as one of my all-time favorite periods in my life. I learned a lot about life during that time, and I wouldn't trade that experience for anything in the world. Women are such incredibly rich and complex people. I had the marvelous luck to share an office with Hillary, Christine, Belkis, Myrna, and a few other substitutes due to pregnancy and other changes. This was a world that no man could perceive unless you shared this experience. For me, it was like visiting the bottom of the ocean and far reaches of the universe. They took advantage of my humor and acceptance of their personal questions, some which I'll steer away for discretionary reasons, but it was an incredibly rich and rewarding at the same time. Their world has colors, emotions, a range of feelings and passions and subtleties that we men can't fathom or reach. Needless to say, it was synonymous with getting an advanced degree in life. Women paint with another brush. They see a world of bright colors, rolling gardens, ever-changing backdrops that we don't see. Men are walking around with only one eye and two hands tied behind their back. What an exhilarating experience it was. I loved every minute of it, and I had to feel many questions about being a man. And what surprised me most is their intelligence, sensitivity, and most of all, their sense of humor. It was like being in an amusement park, and they once asked me what a men's bathroom was like, to which I replied, "What do you want me to tell you? It's what you think it is. There's nothing much to relate." They wanted more details and posed more questions. So I did the best I could with the subject matter, and we'll leave it at that. And sadly, we lost Christine back in 2006 to post-surgery complications, and she was a gas. And she was the most comical and daring and adventurous of the group. But long live Christine, and I do miss the hell out of her. And I'm sure that I would still be in contact with her if she was still with us. I recall them throwing paper clips at me while I was on the phone. They occasionally would steal items from my lunch bag, but always return them. They would taunt me if I got into a quiet and discreet argument with my wife on the phone, wanting to know what happened. And I would sometimes stare at Christine as she sat directly across from me, and then always look away the moment she noticed me. This drove her crazy after a while. And Hillary sat behind me and always had a large plant on the railing separating us. And when she spoke with me, she would slide the plant to the side so we could see each other. And just about every time she did, I would slide it back so we didn't have to see each other while we spoke. And when one of the male directors would come in our office to mention something that their wives said or did, the women jumped on the opportunity to make certain that I didn't side with their viewpoints. So I naturally played the impartial observer and stated that I feel strongly both ways, or just go silent. It was a blast, and thanks for the memories, ladies. I'm going to stay with the Christine stories, just about five of them, I think, since there are several. And she was very comical, charming, and witty. And in this story, she would bring her lunch to work every day, and occasionally her lunch would get stolen out of the refrigerator. And as it happened after the fourth or fifth time, she would understandably get pissed off. So she came up with this idea. If it happens again, she would go through everyone's garbage in the office after work to find the culprit, in an office with about 75 people. Imagine, that was Christine now. And of course, she was only kidding. And again, with Christine, she asked me a question one day about the spelling of caring. She wanted to know if you include the letter E in the spelling. I told her that you don't include the letter E and that I wasn't surprised she didn't know how to spell the word. that she most likely had very little or no experience with the word, and the look she gave me was memorable. Another Christine scenario. She was on the phone one morning, and it sounded like she was talking to a friend, and I asked her if the phone call was business or personal. She said that it was none of my business. And I told her that it must have been personal then, and don't get personal about it. This is a business establishment. And last story on Christine. She sees me crossing the street one afternoon on Madison Avenue, and she's with one of her friends, and I didn't notice her, so she grabbed my arm and introduced me to her friend. And I told the friend that it was very nice meeting you, and then told Christine to never touch me again, and she replied, Slappy, and that was Slappy. That was her nickname for me. I love you. Don't ever change. And God, do I miss her. And lastly, my wife used to have a lot of Tupperware. She's pared down quite a bit over the years, but there was a time when she had so much Tupperware, I thought she had more Tupperware than Tupper. And we're going to stop here, and we'll see you soon. Thanks again for tuning in.